I'm not surprised that the secret drone facility has been hit, because this particular organization, the Rubicon, is one of the more technically advanced Russian drone developers, and is something that will be very high priority on the Ukrainian targeting list. And of course, to get onto the targeting list, that then focuses intelligence assets on trying to identify where it is so it can then be hit. And it's quite clear that the Ukrainians have been using an awful lot of open source intelligence and possibly access to some secret intelligence as well to try and identify where this is. And they hit gold dust whenever they saw some of the posts being put out by Russian influencers. It seems that the information about the location came out from a number of different sources. The propagandist himself, and he's there to put a message out. He's deciding what that message is, and he's pushing it out. He's not thinking of it from a what are the implications of this on me and on the organization that I'm putting out there, and it should be. People should be looking at that. And of course, that's one little snippet where something came from. You then look at the Ukrainians having identified the commander, and they went through his and his wife's social media posts and his movements, and then you see statements in the Russian Ministry of Defense press, boasting about facilities that they're opening and all the rest of it. And each one didn't give an exact location away, but you pull all of that together and you build this picture very quickly. People have to realize that whenever you're building an intelligence picture, it's like the picture that you have on your television of this, or the screen that people are watching this on, is made up of individual little pixels, and each pixel is made up of 3 colors. And from an intelligence collection perspective, you're trying to gather each of the colors and each of the pixels and put them together in the right order to build a picture. Of course, this only took 3 posts, one from the propagandist, one from the Ministry of Defense, and some posts on the commander and his wife's own social media for the Ukrainians to very quickly go, that's where this new highly technological unit is being based and operated out of. And I think they hit it with some missiles on the 22nd of May, which then stimulated the Russians to start to build a tower outside it to put the Pantier air defense missile system on it, which again then just confirms that this is a facility of interest. So it wouldn't surprise me if it's going to be hit again. It could easily be hit by Flamingo. It has got the reach to get there. It all depends on what air defense has been taken out on the way in. It could be taken out or damaged by saboteurs. The Ukrainian SBU, their security services, or their HUR/GUR, their intelligence services, are very good at organizing that sort of thing. The Flamingo cruise missile, it has got the range, 3,000 kilometers. It's got the warhead to cause an awful lot of damage, 1,150 kilograms, but it's not particularly a stealth weapon. And therefore, if the Panter air defense missile system is active, then there's a great chance that it could be shot down. So the Ukrainians will find the most appropriate way of attacking it again if they feel they need to. No, the Russians have made a number of intelligence faux pas. They're very quick at posting stuff up online, and then realizing that actually, the profile that they've given shows too much background. That background can be georeferenced. That georeferencing can identify where locations are. I've seen only in the past couple of days someone looking at the concentration of mobile phone connections to local mobile phone towers being put out from an open source perspective, and looking at SIMs that come from Russian networks and where they're concentrating around on the Russian-Ukrainian front line. And there are big concentrations in certain areas, and the Ukrainians can use that to say, well, if there's a large number of Russian mobile phone SIMs connecting to the networks in this location, that suggests there's a large number of personnel. If there's a large number of personnel, maybe that's where the Russians are concentrating their people for potential counteroffensives against the Ukrainians. And it's bringing together all of this sort of information that's available, and people don't realize just how much is available from an open source perspective, never mind then getting into the more secretive military intelligence or national intelligence collection means. You bring all of those together, and the picture they can build up is really, really comprehensive indeed. Yeah, Russia, bases most of its activity on the fact that it can create mass. And that mass is, manpower mass. If we could create the same sort of mass, we'd be concerned about preserving that mass. The Russians don't care. They don't care how many people they lose. It's seemingly they don't care how much equipment they've lost. They're not using much heavy equipment at the front line now. Um, they're relying on small bands of determined individuals with virtually no training, but also technological developments. And this is where, from the Ukrainian perspective, identifying this drone facility was critical, because that is where the Russians have been learning the lessons that the Ukrainians have found out on the battlefield from the use of Ukrainian drones, and where the Russians have taken it to the next level, and developing drones that use fiber optic cables to offer them a degree of command and control that can't be intercepted by electronic warfare, and to start to produce those from en masse. We have to recognize that war is not just about soldiers in the front line slugging it out. It's also about defense industrial bases and innovation, and which side can out innovate the other. And the Russians had taken what what the Ukrainians had achieved in the innovation of drones. They took it to the next level with the use of fiber optic cables. The Ukrainians are now copying that, and it's a constant battle. And this is where, if factories where these things are being developed and manufactured can be identified because people are being lazy from a security perspective, from an operational security perspective, then you can take advantage of that by destroying it. And it takes a while to build the factories up again, but it takes even longer if you can take out those individuals who almost certainly have in their heads the designs for new pieces of equipment, because they won't have time to get them properly formally articulated onto paper or into computer systems. Or if you take out the computer systems, then you can start to get ahead on that technological race again.